Hello, everyone. So in this session, we are going to talk about the machine learning. So what is the machine learning? So the simple definition, if you see the simple definition here, machine learning is a technique which allows a machine to learn from a data and make a decisions or a predictions without being explicitly programmed. So machine, in a simple word, machine learning means machine learning from the experiences. Okay, so we are going to discuss more about with an example. Okay, so to understand how machines learns, let's compare it with our human, how humans learn, because both a process follow the same logic. So imagine a child, which we already discussed. We the child can able to identify the fruit by telling them that, hey, this is how the apple appears to be, and the apple looks to be a round, and usually they are a red or green, and apple have a certain shapes. So that's how the kid learns that how the apple appears to be. So the next time when a kid saw an apple, so he immediately identify. So let's say you kept different kinds of fruits. Let's say you put apple here, and you put a banana, and then you put some other let's say orange, right? So different kinds of fruits you kept on the table. This guy is able to identify the apple because he knows, or he learned from his parents that, so this is how the apple appears to be. So if it could be a different size, or it is a slightly different color, or it is a half eaten, or it is a inside of a basket with the multiple fruits, he is able to identify the apple. So that is we already discussed. Okay, so let's understand how machine learns the same example, how machine can recognize this. So machines learns the same way how a human learns. So if you take an example here, so here what we are doing is, so machines learning the same way. So what we are doing is we are doing it on a much larger scale. So here we are giving the input data, or a training data of apples with a like a example of 1 million apple images, which are different colors, different shapes, apples with the leaves, apple with the apples, cut cut into pieces, right? Half apples, or apples into a different lighting, apples with the other fruits. So we are giving it to a different kinds of apple images to the AI system. So now then or this mission, right? So the mission look at all these examples and find the patterns like shape, color, texture, outline, edges, everything, right? So shape, color, texture, edges, right? Outline, etc. And then after you train, if you show, let's say if you show the mission any new image, the machine can say that this is an apple or not. Let's say if I show to the if I ask the AI machine that this is an apple, and then the machine can see based on all the learning patterns, it can identify whether it is a image, whether it is an apple or not. So this is how the machines can able to learn from the this is how machine can able to recognize the this is an example. So if you go to the other example, so here in a real life example, so how machines can learn and detect the credit card frauds. Okay, so banks are uses the machine learning to detect fraud activities in the debit or credit card fraud. How banks are using the machine learning techniques. So they train the machine with a millions of transactions. So let's say they are trained with the normal transactions, like how the normal transactions appears to be. and how the fraud transactions appears to be. They trained the normal transaction, millions of transactions, and they trained a fraud transactions, like a thousands of fraud transactions, how it appears to be, right? So for example, normal transaction, how it appears to be, it is usually the small purchase and in the same city, and the regular timing could be a 9 to 6 and the same device. That is how the transaction, maybe he's using one laptop or his mobile, that is how his transactions, those are the normal transactions. And the fraud transactions, like a sudden high value a purchase, right, and the different country, different device, and unusual timing. So these all things are the fraud transactions. If the user suddenly purchase 50,000 in some other country at 2 a.m., that's something abnormal, then the machine is able to detect those activities. Let's say here, the normal activity is same value, same city. This is what it learns, all these things. And now the fraud pattern, if you see, the different country, it is some of 50,000, and the login, I mean, the timing of this particular activity was 2 a.m., that is something different, and the different device and IP. So these all looks to be fraud, right? So now your machine is able to detect that this is the fraud activity. So again, it is learned this by studying the millions of normal transactions and thousands of fraud transactions. So that is how the machine learn, or how that is how the machine learn to detect the debit card fraud.